Welcome to the Life, Love, Everything podcast. I am your host, Tasmin Bota. Our guest today is Joey Dlamini. I am so excited to be chatting with Joey. Joey is a wife, a mom, a social worker, and author of the Teen Top 25 Foundation Life Lessons for a Thriving Journey to Adulthood, founder of Beaccentuated Foundation, and a content creator. I'm so excited to have you here with us today, Joey, and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Tess, and hello to all your audience.
So Joey and I met because we were both part of the Mamandla Fellowship, but I had heard of you and seen your work through a mutual friend whom I also met through the fellowship. And I was
Yeah.
actually low-key fangirling when I first met you. I had to keep it inside. I didn't want to, hurt anyone's feelings, but I was so super excited to meet you that first day that we met.
Thank you so much. It was very nice meeting you too, physically.
Yeah. So you have a YouTube channel called Unlearning with Joey. Tell us where the concept came from of unlearning and why you have decided to teach the world how to unlearn.
I think it happened naturally. It started on Instagram. And also growing up, I used to question a lot of things, the way we were doing things, the way we were raised as girls, and what was expected from us, and how boys were treated. So I used to really question those ideas and who came up with those rules or guidelines. And later on, when I had my kids, I think the questioning continued. And now it was worse because my kids were also asking questions. So when I was sharing my content on Instagram, I was talking about those things that usually, those questions that we have, but we are afraid to ask because we feel like, oh, maybe we are not supposed to ask, or it has always been like that. Hence the title of Unlearning. So it's simply a platform, a safe space where we can have honest conversations, honest, difficult conversations, because usually the topic I want to talk about, there are those things that we will whisper or we'll talk about it. When someone is rude, we'll say, why are they like this? Why are they so rude? But we don't say it to their face. Or when we have difficult family members, we'll gossip about it instead of calling them out and addressing whatever issue. So I'm a huge advocate for having honest, uncomfortable conversations, but in a safe space. So hence the unlearning.
I absolutely love it. And you're so right. In our society, we really like to talk quietly under the table, behind closed doors. And I'm so glad that you've come up with this concept because I have learned so much. I'm learning all the time whenever I'm seeing your content or I'm watching your videos. So thank you so much for creating a platform where we can all learn from each other and speak about taboo subjects. So,
It's
what are
my absolute pleasure.
what are the three most important things for you that you are teaching and trying to unlearn, that you are teaching your children and trying to unlearn as well?
Okay, I think the first one is teaching them how to be able to say no, because that was a concept that we were not taught. Growing
Yeah.
up, I remember adults will get angry because you said no. So I'm teaching my kids to own their no and to know that it's okay to say no. You don't always have to agree with everyone. Then the second one, to ask questions. Like growing up, we didn't ask questions. Like even now, we are those adults. Sometimes in the workspace or in different environments, we are afraid of asking questions because we were never made to feel that it's okay to ask questions. And it doesn't mean that you are fighting with a person. It just simply means that you are seeking clarity. So I am raising kids who are able to ask questions, even though sometimes it's tiring. Like sometimes I'm like, no, not today. but
Okay.
I yeah, but I love it for them.
Yes.
And yeah, and I think the third one, which is very important, raising them to know that they are loved. They are loved, and this love, it doesn't only come from us as their parents, but they were loved by God first. He's the one who created them. He's the one who wanted them to be here. Because I think it's so important to know that there is a higher being. There is God, the creator, who wanted you. For those days when we are not getting along, or for those times where we might disagree with each other, they must always know that even if they make mistakes, but they are still lovable, they are still loved because of who they are, not because of their performance. Because some of us, we thought that people loved us because of what we are doing, because we have to perform
Mm.
for their love. So I want them to know that no, they are loved just as they are. They don't have to get A's or awards or anything like that. They just have, for the fact that they are here, they are loved.
Oh, that is so, so, so beautiful. But how do you deal with your children saying no to you, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I don't mind you asking. I think because it was such an important point for me, I had to be okay with it. And
Mm.
sometimes it is triggering, and at first it was triggering because for us, we were not given that opportunity. But every time when I'm triggered, I will ask myself, why am I triggered? Then I will remember that, oh, for you, you were never allowed to say no. But then I'll look at some of the disadvantages of not being able to say no, because
Yeah.
we have people who are who are bitter and angry with the world because they feel like they keep on giving to everyone else, and they are not allowed to say no. And I don't want my kids to be like that. So I think that is those are the things that I tend to remember, that okay, it might be uncomfortable for me as a parent, but I want to raise kids who are able to say no. Also taking into account the issue of peer pressure. If they need to practice
Mm.
their no muscles here with me, so that when they go outside and people say, here are drugs, they can say no, that's not my thing. But if
Yeah.
I'm raising people pleasers from my house, it won't be easy for them to say no to strangers.
Mm. That is so powerful. Thank you for sharing that. So, a little while ago, you did a YouTube video that truly, truly struck a chord with me, and something that I wanted to touch on and dive a bit deeper into with you. And you
Okay.
said we need to stop romanticizing poverty. And
Mm,
for me, it was a big aha moment because, how people say it to me would be, I am strong because of going through these
yeah.
hardships that I've been through. And I know that I'm guilty for doing this. Before watching that video, I always used to say to my kids, when I grew up, I didn't have this, and we didn't have this, and we didn't do that, and we couldn't go here. And I've never done this and never gone there. And in my ignorance, I thought that I was helping them to see that they
Yeah.
shouldn't take for granted the life that they have. Because growing up, I never thought I'd be where I am now, even though we have been so intentional about working hard and getting to this
Mm,
point,
mm,
right?
mm.
And even in being in this point that I am in, because of growing up poor, sometimes I'm embarrassed of what I have achieved. So please
Yeah.
break it down for us, and how do we change this mindset of romanticizing poverty?
This one is not an easy one. Even for me,
Hmm.
it is a journey where I continue to unlearn, I continue to heal. Because as you rightfully said, when you grow up poor, the only thing that you hear is that hard work is going to help you. You need to work hard,
Hmm.
you need to push. And which is a good thing. Hard work is good. But also, I have realized that sometimes, unfortunately, even if you work hard, things are not going
Yeah,
to go okay for you, because there is a system that we are also existing in. Sometimes you need other networks, you need other resources in order for you to realize your dreams. And because we were raised to work hard, some of us, we struggle to take care of ourselves, we struggle to rest.
that's so true.
I had such an issue that when I will call my sister, and when during the day, and she answers, and if I could hear like, okay, she sounds sleepy, I will be so triggered. Like, I will
Yeah,
be annoyed. Why are you sleeping during the day?
yeah. Hmm.
And someone will be like, oh, that's a good personality, it's great. But the problem is that it came from a place of poverty. It came from a
Mm,
place of not having enough. It came from a place where you feel like you are not seen. So my issue is that yes, maybe there are skills and there are lessons that we got from being poor, but sometimes you need to wonder at what cost. Some of us, even when we are okay, we can't relax, you know,
that's so
even
true.
when you have finally reached whatever you were, or sometimes you don't even reach anything because it is never enough. You keep on pushing and pushing and pushing, and sometimes some of the people, because of being poor, they end up valuing things more than
Yeah.
valuing people, which is wrong, you know. So I think that is why I'm saying that we should never make it seem as if poverty is the only way to teach resilience, to teach hard work, to teach integrity. It is not, because poverty is a curse. It is a
Mm,
curse. It is not nice to wonder if you're going to have something to eat at night. At night, it is not nice for a parent to wonder if you can provide for your kids, to see your kids hungry or your kids not having shelter. So we should never. And my issue is that people who usually romanticize poverty are the very same people who have money, are the very same people who are actually okay. It's like, I feel like it's a way for them to say, I don't need to help anyone else because anyway, it's good for them. You know, it's like if I'm
yeah.
staying in the suburbs somewhere nice and I'm like, the people in the township, they are so strong. No, they are strong because they have no choice. So
That's
why?
so true.
Yeah, so I think for us as parents, we need to find ways of teaching our kids how to be grateful while also allowing them to enjoy the benefits of having parents who went through the most and now are able to buy them McDonald's. Is, you know, giving them
Yeah,
McDonald's in a while is not going to make them spoiled.
that is so true. Sure. And yeah, it's amazing how, sometimes it takes a while for you to actually realize that the traumas that you have dealt with or haven't dealt with growing up are now trickling into how you are parenting.
Exactly, exactly.
Sure. So you are an author, which is so, so awesome. Your first book is called The Teen Top 25 Foundational Life Lessons for a Thriving Journey to Adulthood. What made you to decide to do a book for teens and their parents?
The reason why, I think I have a soft spot for young people. I love
Mm,
kids. And I think growing up, I was those kids who are very actively involved in the youth movement. I believe that youth could do amazing things, but unfortunately, my environment did not give me the opportunities that I needed. So
mm,
I also realized that the more we grow, the more we continue. The world can be very negative about young people, about teenagers. You know, the stories that you hear. I always share example that, you know, when you are when you are pregnant, people are so excited that you're pregnant. When you have a baby, people are there. We have a baby shower. Even when your kids are still small, before they are teenagers, your friends can say, "Oh, can I babysit?" But immediately when you have a teenager, no one is really there to support you. No one is saying, "Oh, how is Ogi doing? Can we come and see
mm,
him?" And whatever. And most of the time, parents need more support during those times when they have teenagers, because you feel so alone and people are no longer interested in your child. Now you have to push through these days. So I wanted to write a book sharing how I grew up and sharing the lessons that I wish I had learned before I became an adult. Because a lot of us, we are teaching ourselves these things. Some of us, we are doing it when we have kids, which is hard, because here you are, you're supposed to teach your child about the power of saying no, but you yourself are struggling to say no. So I wanted to write a book that speaks to our experiences, that when a child reads it, they can say, "Oh yeah, I get this." When a mother reads it, they can say, "I'm healing," because it's not only talking to the teenagers, but it is talking to also your inner child, for you to
mm,
realize that okay, I struggle with asking for help. This is the reason why I can ask for help. Let me start working on it and start healing with your child together.
Oh, that is so beautiful. It is evident that you are all for supporting children. So tell us about your nonprofit Be Accentuated.
So, Be Accentuated, the reason I created it, I think it's because of the young people who made me do it. So, it started where I was going to schools with my friends just to donate, sanitary towels and all these things. But then I realized that as much as it was lovely for us to give them sanitary towels, but what happens after we leave? So I wanted something that is more sustainable, where we can go back and see them again and expose them to things that some of them will never be exposed to, because I was working
Mm,
with kids who grow up in the townships. Some of them, they go to schools around here. They are not exposed to all these different extramural activities that our kids have access to. So I just wanted them to know that they can dream big, and that things can actually be okay for them, that they can dream and actually get out, and they should know that there are people who are there supporting them. So that is why. And I was very intentional that I wanted to work with both girls and boys, because I felt like as a society our focus was more on girls, which is all good, and I understand why. But I feel like if we focus only on girls, what's going to happen to the boys? Who's going to teach the boy child? Who's
mm,
going to show them love and remind them that you too matter? And we can't really punish them for the mistakes of men, because they are boys. They didn't make those mistakes, so we need to teach them now and hold their hands. And also it's important for both genders to see each other, how they can work together, how they can complement each other, instead of always competing. I get tired. I always say I believe that the future is both male and female. I do not believe in this thing now the future is female. There is room for both of us.
absolutely. And I think that's so wonderful. I mean, especially I'm a boy mom. And so I always wonder, if boys don't have a safe space where they can go, where they can learn, where they can be exposed to things that sometimes they're not,
Mm,
then they don't get a chance to, especially when you think, like you're saying, when you grow up in the townships and stuff, you don't necessarily have access to resources and people and things that children that are in the suburbs do have. So I think it's
exactly.
phenomenal what you're doing with your organization, and I hope that it flourishes and that it grows tenfold and that we can reach all the girls and boys that need our help. Because I also say that if you don't get exposed to what else there is, if you own, because when you live in the
Yeah.
township, your world is actually very, very small. So that's all that you know. It's all that, and then you find that people who grow up in the township tend to stay in the township, which isn't, I'm not saying is a bad thing, but if you're not exposed to other things, you'll never know better and able to do better.
Yeah, and it's also because for me it's important that if you decide to stay, it should be from a place of you choose to, not because you have
You're
to and you
forced
have no
to,
other option,
yes,
you know. So it's
I see that.
important for them. Yeah. And I think that is why me and my husband we decided that we are not leaving, because we wanted kids around us to see what is possible, to see that okay, I can also be something while I'm staying in the township. I can also change my situation. I can also influence the people in my community. So that was something big for me too.
That's amazing. So you, as we said earlier, are a content creator, and I absolutely love your YouTube channel as well as your Instagram account. What made you decide to do the whole influencer thing? I mean, with being a wife and a mom, having a full-time job, how do you juggle it all? Because you post consistently.
And it comes to think of it, I never planned to be an influencer. For me, when I started on Instagram. It was simply sharing information that I have. Like, I love having conversations. So it was simply doing that caption. It was more for me about the captions than the lifestyle or the photos, you know. But the more you are out there, then you realize that, okay, I don't have to limit myself. I can do this. I can share information and have life giving conversations, and also sometimes make money from it. And I think I actually started, it's been 2 years now. So the first year I didn't do any brand work. I was just focusing on sharing the message and talking about my book and having the lives. Then one time a friend of mine was like, no, can I share a product with you so that you can review? And I was like, why not? I tried it out, and that's how I started. Then YouTube, I started it last year, November. So this I'm turning, it's my 1 year
1 year.
anniversary.
Happy birthday, YouTube
thank you.
channel.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. So how do I do it? I think it's because these are the things that I love. And for me, I feel like social media makes it easier for me. So in a way that I don't have to be physically there. I can do it while I'm home. I can do it while I'm, like, right now, I'm doing this interview. I'm in my bedroom. I'm sitting on my bed, you know. But
Yeah,
if it was something that required me to be physically present, it was going to be challenging, especially taking into account my job and my kids and everything else. So for me, honestly, I love how social media enables me to reach more people than I would have had if I did not do it online. So it works for me. And I think also I must give credit to God. Like, the Holy Spirit has really helped me, especially when it comes to captions. I do not struggle with captions. He's always giving me ideas, and I'm so grateful for that. Yeah, I think that's that's that. I really love it. I love the conversations that I'm having online. I'm not doing it for the money because I'm not getting the money yet, but
yes.
I really love it. I love having those conversations. I love when someone says to me, you know what, yo, you made me think, all this resonated with me, all this is how I felt. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I get that. So I want to switch the conversation up a little bit because
Yes.
you and I connect on so many things. And one of
Yeah.
those things that we have recently really connected on is finding out that our children have special needs. And you have been so candid and open and honest about the difficulties you have experienced. Would you like to share a little bit with our listeners about your journey and where you guys are now and, the struggle of actually opening up and sharing about it and how you guys got to where you are now on that journey?
Yeah. Oh, so last year, September, my daughter, my youngest, oh, Mara, she's the only daughter. I almost said my youngest daughter, as if I have a, yeah. So she was diagnosed with having mild to moderate speech delay. And after that, we were referred to an audiologist, and it was discovered, and an ENT, that it was discovered that she had, one of her ears was temporarily blocked with markers, so she needed groundworks, and also her tongue was tied, so she needed to have that surgery so that they can loosen it because it was hindering her from saying certain words. And as you said, I've been honest because when I was ready to speak, I did not try to make it seem as if it was an easy thing finding out. I was very honest about my feelings. I was very vulnerable. And I remember some of the conversations I was having with God was that, you know what, the pain I'm feeling, you have to make it worth it. I can't be feeling so much pain for the NG. The devil
Mm,
can be rejoicing that my family went through this for the NJ. But it took time. Like, it was like I didn't even want, my friends knew. I told them, no one must tell me that, no, it's God's will, because I refused to hear that. I told them that you cannot tell me that. because also I know the relationship I have with God, and I know His will for me is good. So, yes, you can tell me that it's because unfortunately we live in a fallen world and things are not going to be perfect, even if you are a child of God. Yeah, so we did the surgery Jan this year, early Jan this year, and immediately we could see the difference from how she was talking, like her voice was more audible. And then we continued with speech therapy. We only stopped in September. That was when we did the last session, but we are still doing practicing at home, which is not easy because Asa does not want to do her homework anymore. My child feels like she can talk. Why are we bothering her? So, yeah. But, just yesterday I was thanking God because I was talking to someone, sent me a DM, and just telling me that she took her son to get help, and I was like, God, this is what I asked for, that our pain, it should be to help someone else. So I am grateful that by me sharing, more parents are actually asking themselves those questions. Like when they see something, they are able to say, okay, maybe it's something, maybe it's more, and that's what I wanted, for it to help another child, to help another parent, so that maybe they won't go through what we went through, or even if they are going through it, that it will be less alone. They will feel less alone. They will know that someone else. And I think it was so important, for people to see that, okay, it can actually happen to me too. It hasn't been an easy journey. It's a bit better now. But sometimes as a mom, which is normal, I still feel like, I just want her to be completely okay, you know. Because sometimes, as I said, we need to do the homeworks and she's not in the mood. I'm also not in the mood, but we have to keep on doing it.
That is so true. And I think you definitely motivated me to share my story more. I think I am still hesitant. I feel like at times I throw it in the conversation as a by the way thing. Um, as we are still also, navigating and trying to find the correct
Yeah.
tools. And, also sometimes, which I know is so wrong, you feel like, my problem isn't as big as other people's, but it
Mm,
doesn't
mm.
mean that it's not affecting your life, because it really, really is. And I love how you said that, you were candid with everybody, that they mustn't tell you that God doesn't give you stuff that you can't handle. But I also love
Ah,
the
ah,
fact that you are so connected in your faith that you know that what he is giving you is, it's not for without a purpose. So I've also on this journey realized that I will never question God as to why he's doing what he's doing, because I know what he's doing it for a reason. It's just up to me to trust the process. But sometimes it's not always easy. I mean, I find
no, it is
myself
not.
still questioning, not why me, but I get
Yeah.
angry at the situation, and that we've made so much progress, and yet the world is saying ABCDEFG is still wrong with him. And when I look at where he's been and where he is now, it's two completely different children. So I know you sharing your journey has definitely helped me, and I
Uh,
believe it has helped so many other people. And the fact that you were actually so raw. I remember once you did a live and you were even crying on the live, like,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
my situation, this is where we are. And it was so wonderful to see when you posted that you guys had your final, speech therapy lesson. There's nothing like graduating from whatever allied health
Yay.
services it is that you're going through. It's like you can throw a party same time.
No, honestly, no. It was so. And when you look back at it, because afterwards I felt like, it went quicker than I
Mm.
felt when I was going through it. And I loved what you said about how sometimes you will feel like yours is not too bad, because I do sometimes feel like that with us. You know what, it was only the speech delay. Other parents have more than that. Their kids are experiencing more than that. But then I told myself that it's okay. It is difficult for me. There is no parent out there who's like, God, I'm praying that I'm going to have a child and my child will go through challenges. No one is asking for that. So the fact that your child has something that is making life a bit more difficult for them, it is a big
Mm.
deal. And you've got a right to feel bad about it. You've got a right to feel somehow. I asked God, I was like, Mudimu, why? I wasn't, why me? But I was like, why did you allow it? You know, why
Yeah.
did you allow it? And I think because of the relationship that I have with God, and I know He can handle my lie, you know, He can handle my tears, He can handle my fears, He can handle all those things. And that's part also of unlearning, because a lot of us, we were raised to believe that God is so far off from us that you can't ask, you can know. For that intimacy, is like with your husband, you are going to ask him why. And it doesn't
Mhm.
mean that you are being disrespectful, but you are just saying, why didn't you protect me? But eventually when you are okay, you can say, anyway, your will, not mine, and I'm trusting you to work it together for my good and my family good. Because for me, I will even ask God that I'm trusting you, like, to find a way to help her, find a way to make it easier, and find a way to help others. And honestly, I'm seeing it. There are so many people who have contacted me since I have shared, you know, and you
Mm.
realize that this thing is really happening out there. And I'm like, okay, maybe Mudimu knew who I have the platform. So I have the platform and I can use it to help someone else. Because the reality is that as much as I was aware of other parents, but nothing beats you going through that thing. You know, you can empathize with other people, but when you are going through it, it hits differently.
That's so true. And we know that as people of color, talking about disability or being differently abled is such a taboo subject, especially in
Yeah.
our communities. And
Mm.
finding access to the resources,
Yo.
even that is such a struggle. Whereas, our counterparts, they don't seem to struggle as much as we do. So, how can we better support parents who have differently abled children as a society?
Yo, a lot needs to be done. A lot needs to be done. Starting with us having honest conversations, starting with us being more supportive, because I think, like, sometimes we don't really support people. Everyone is living in their own little world. And I remember so many times I'll say to my husband that, yo, baby, imagine if we did not have the resources, because we were able to get help for her so quickly because we had the resources. I was discovering things. I'm like, why do you have medical aid, but they are not going to pay? You must pay cash. And thank God
Mm,
every time we will have the money. But how many parents, especially in South Africa, have money that is just lying around to be able to take their kids to the ENT, to take them for surgery, to take them for the speech therapy? Because we had 4 sessions in a month. Every week she will have a session. But how many parents can afford that if you are going to take it out from your own pocket? So it's like
mm.
somehow we are failing those kids who don't have access to those resources. So I don't know, I'm hoping that by us having these conversations, maybe as a nation, as people, will start to feel like, okay, this is not only a Joey problem, but all of us, there is a bit I can do, there is a difference that I can make, and how can I do it? And I also love the work that you are doing, like the support group that you have created. That is also a step in the right direction, where parents know that I'm not alone, I'm talking with other parents and they are sharing resources. That is so important,
Absolutely.
because that is something new for a lot of us. So yeah, I think, and volunteering, if your kids are okay, it does not mean that you must not help, you must not be impacted, or you must not be part of the solution. Recently, I went to Kanake Moshi's Preemie walk.
Mhm.
And when we were walking, someone was like, "Oh, so your child is a preemie?" I'm like, "No, she's not. I don't have any preemie. All my kids came full time." But you see, that's the thing. You can support people even if you are not going through that. You don't have to go through it in order to feel like, let me make a difference, let me support.
That is so, so, so true. So absolutely true. And yeah, at least we do have our government services. It may not
Yeah,
be as up to par as we would like it. We wish that the system wasn't so over flooded so that children would be able to be seen more often. I think that's the difference between the private and the public sector, is that the sessions are far between, as opposed to when you're at private, like you were saying, you went every week. In our case, we go every few months. But I suppose something is better than nothing.
yeah,
And
yeah,
but the problem is also that we, in an instance like that, we leave the majority of the burden up to the parents. So like the therapist will tell you, like you were saying, you have homework. They will give you homework that now it's up to you as the parent to implement this
mm,
homework to ensure that your child is going to reach
yes,
whatever goal it is that they need to. And like you said, it's taxing. I mean, you go to work the whole day or whatever, you've been busy with the kids at home the whole day. Come 2 3 o'clock, or the kids come back from school, nobody's got the energy or wants to
exactly.
really go and do these. And sometimes you find, like within our case, we at one time were seeing 5 different specialists, and each one is coming with their homework that you need to do.
No,
It gets to be a lot, so it really
no, it
does help.
is.
Yeah, to have people around that can step in and help you with that. um People that are willing to learn about, what is that
Yes,
diagnosis that your child has, so that they are more educated, they know how to interact. And even if you don't know, if you see a parent in public with a child that is acting up, the child can be acting up for many reasons, not only because they are spoiled or they are naughty. The child could be
exactly.
autistic and they're being overstimulated. And us as a society, we're going to look at the mother as if you can't control your child, when in fact we should be stepping in and saying, "Mommy, how can I help you? How can I assist you?
Mm,
Can I remove something off of your load?" I think by us changing our mindsets in that way, it will already effect such a big change on parents with children who are differently able.
that is so true. That is absolutely true. And I think for me, every time I see a mom with a child who's acting up, I will give them a smile. You know, that smile that, oh, I know. All right.
I
And
see
then
you.
if, yeah, then if we can start a conversation and say, yo, this one, they like acting, especially when they see people, then the mother relaxes, because I always say there's no parent who's out there is like, I want my child to act out. And no, we get embarrassed before you even look at us. We are already embarrassed. So make it easy for the parent. Just remind them that, okay, I see you and this happens, then move on, you know. And I absolutely agree with you, because I remember with me, I spoke to my friends, my family members, so they knew what to do. They knew that, okay, right now we are teaching Asa how to say these words. You need to correct her and remind her. And when they were with her, they will do it. But also, there was a part where I had to learn, Hore, even now, we are not convicted the same, and it's not easy. I think I was saying this when I was doing an interview with Buledi, that as a mom, it hits you differently. As a mom, your
That's
child's
true.
diagnosis, it hits you differently. I think you just take it so personally, because with me, I couldn't relax, you know. If they said homework, even if I'm tired, even if I like, it was personal for me. So that is why it's so important for you to have people who are going to support you. I remember one of the time, and I'll never forget it. Our mutual friend's husband was here, and he was busy practicing with us. Like my heart, you know, like
Ah,
it was just
that's
so
so
beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah, like he was busy practicing with her, and as I was so excited, Hore, Uncle is practicing with me. So we really, especially when it comes to raising a child who is differently able, or a child who is sick for whatever reason, it really takes a village to raise that child. We need to be actively involved. And if you're not sure, ask how can I help you? How do I need help? Like for me, with kids, I have friends who are raising kids who were born prematurely. I am only learning now, even with the life I had with you, about how much of a strain it is for parents. So because of that, I'm able to empathize with them. I'm able to check on them. I'm able to check, okay, are you okay? How the kids doing? And I'm able to give them grace also, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And we have to also unlearn how to accept
exactly.
people's help, because I'm the first person that can scream to myself, I need help, I need help, I need help. But the minute somebody asks or offers to help, then it's like I'm mute. It's like, no, it's okay, I'm fine, everything is fine. But deep down inside, you know that you need the help. So sometimes we need friends that are proactive, that are just gonna come and do the
Yeah,
thing that needs to be done.
exactly. No, I get you.
Well, Joey, it's always amazing talking to you. Before we sign off, will you let our listeners know where they can find you, how they can connect, and where they can purchase your book?
Oh, thank you so much. It was such a lovely conversation. Thank you. So I am on YouTube as Unlearning with Joey, or you can just say Joey Dlamini, then you will find me. Please subscribe to my channel and yeah, watch and enjoy. Then I'm on Instagram as Joey Dlamini. Then I'm also on TikTok. I have no idea. What am I doing on TikTok? I just share places we go to. Yeah, I share places we go to, or yeah, because I feel like as people of color, those things were not exposed to us. So I just want to share to make it more accessible for more people who look like us to know that, oh, there are places like this, there are deals like this. So that's what I do on TikTok.
You've always got the
And
plugs. I love it, for all the best things, the clothing, the
exactly.
places to go, places for holiday. I love it.
We must be there, we must go, we must enjoy all these things. So then yeah, you can buy the book via DM or my website, which is www.joeydlamini.com.
Ah, that is awesome. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate you for joining me today. And I'm always re energized and feel so fulfilled when I speak to Joey. She is full of wisdom, wit, and courage, and she is such a supporter. So let's show love to her by following her on all her social media platforms, which we will include in the show's notes. Till next time, this is your host, Tasmin Bota, and thank you for listening to the Life, Love, Everything podcast.